Washington says this base launched Tuesday's deadly chemical weapons attack, or suspected chemical weapons attack. The strikes now escalate the U.S. military role in Syria, and it's already drawn sharp criticism from Syrian ally Russia. Now, for more on this, let's get reaction. For that, we can cross to Moscow, where France 24's Thomas Lowe joins us now. Thomas, first tell us, what are we hearing from the Kremlin, from state-run media there?
Very stern words from Dmitry Peskov, who is the spokesperson for the Russian President Vladimir Putin. First and foremost, he said that this is an act of aggression against a sovereign state and that it's illegal under international law. Also said that he feels that the US has carried out this strike on this airfield, destroying some 20 planes, a lot of infrastructure destroyed there on the Syrian side, to distract from what's happening in Iraq. Obviously, the US continues to carry out airstrikes on Mosul, where more than 100 civilians have been killed as Islamic State fighters use them as civilian shields. Now, this could be key going into the future. Peskov, the spokesperson for Vladimir Putin, is saying that this is a big blow to relations, that it's going to impair the links between Russia and between the US. And up until very recently, we saw Moscow really hoping, very publicly pushing for much better relations between the two countries. Certainly the lower house of the Russian parliament applauded when they heard that Donald Trump had been elected the new president of the US just over 3 months ago. Obviously, those kind of hopes really look far behind us now.
Thomas, we'll touch upon U.S.-Russian relations again in just a minute. I want to go back to what you mentioned in terms of infrastructure at this airbase. Of course, we do know that Russian military is present in Syria. Do we have any indication as to if there was any Russian casualties or any involvement there at this airbase? What do we know?
At this point, we're told that there haven't been any casualties. If there are, which remains a possibility, that hasn't been made public as yet. Now, what we've heard is that messages were sent from the Pentagon through military channels, to make sure that there were no Russian personnel on that airbase. And as you absolutely correctly said, there normally are. There's a small contingent. We don't know exactly how many, but they've been based there for quite a long time, as have fighters from Iran and from its proxy Hezbollah from Lebanon. Russia does have a huge presence on the coast, on the west coast of Syria, where it has a naval base and an air base, and there it has thousands of soldiers based, which are protected by anti-air missiles, so defense missiles are very technologically advanced. The S-400, which were sent to Syria, great fanfare more than a year ago. One of the questions that's being asked here now in Moscow is, why weren't they used? Why didn't they afford a protection to the Assad regime when these cruise missiles came and hit this airbase?
Indeed. Now, we did hear from the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, U.S. Secretary of State, saying that Washington did not seek Kremlin approval, though they did, as you mentioned, notify them of what was to take base. So what does this mean for U.S.-Russia relations? Of course, there had been some increased hopes, perhaps, of some cooperation in terms of the fight against the Islamic State group.
Well, you'd have to say that at this point, they're fairly dead in the water. We've heard a number of politicians coming out, senior politicians from the Duma, the lower house of parliament, saying that, quite frankly, relations now between the two countries are at a point as low as they were under the former US President Barack Obama. And that's really saying something, because the level of deep hatred among really profound dislike for Obama from Moscow, reaching all the way up into the higher echelons of power, was really tangible. So I think that gives some kind of idea of where we are today. Obviously, those relations, the possibility that relations between Russia and the US could improve, have been dealt a serious blow previously by allegations of hacking, allegations of election rigging, and perhaps strong allegations that Moscow tried to get Donald Trump into power. If they did, it could be, they could well be regretting it now.